Lesson 14.2 is exponential equations with a common base. This is level 2 and 3. Gets a little harder, but not much. So number 1, I see 1 over 8. I'm hoping you remember that if I were to have 8 to the negative first power, that does not make the 8 negative. What it does is it actually flips it. So the 8 would go on the bottom and be 1 over 8 to the positive first power. If I had 8 to the negative second power, I would flip it and become 1 over 8 to the positive second power, which would be 1 over 64. Okay, that's the rules. So on here, if I'm seeing just an 8 here and I'm seeing 64, which I know is 8 squared, I know that my common base is going to have to be 8. But to flip this to be just 8 instead of 1 over 8, I'll have to write 8 to the negative first power. And then to my 4x minus 1. Equals, and then 64, I don't need to know all this. I was just trying to refresh your brain on negative powers. That would be just 8 squared makes 64. So those are equal to the negative x plus 2. That's the only thing we're changing in this lesson. So then I would still have to do my power rule, which says multiply powers. So you get 8 to the negative 4x plus 1. And then that would get distributed to be 8 to the negative 2x plus 24. Okay, and then from there, since I know I have the same base, I just need these two exponential equations to come out equal. So I'll put them equal to each other and solve. I'm going to add 4x. I'm going to subtract 24, which is negative 23. I'm going to get a fraction, which is fine. I would just keep it, negative 23 halves. So that would not be a fun one to check, and you would not be able to do that in your head. We'll just leave it like that. All right, number 2 is very similar. I see both of them are fractions, and so I'll have to have negative powers to flip them. I'm really just looking at the 5 and 125. I know that 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 5 is 125. So I could rewrite this as 5 cubed, and this is still 5. But I know I'm going to flip that up, so that'd be 5 to the negative first power is the same thing as 1 over 5. To the negative 2x squared minus 12 power. Oh, I did forget that we are adding quadratics in here too, sorry. And then that, think about 1 over 125 is the same thing as 1 over 5 cubed. But to move this 5 cubed to the top, it needs to become 5 to the negative third. Okay, so 5 cubed is 125, but we need it to be 1 over 125, so it's got to have the negative to make this and this be the same. And you could always check. So you'll get a decimal, but if I turn that into a fraction, you can see I get back to 1 over 125. Okay, power rule tells me to multiply, so I'll get 5 to the positive 2x squared plus 12 power equals 5 to the 6x plus 120 power. Drop your bases, set your powers equal. I've got a quadratic here. So I'm going to have to move everything to the x squared side. I'm going to subtract 6x, subtract 120. 2x squared minus 6x, 12 minus 120. Yeah, I can do that in my head. Negative 108 is equal to 0. I'm going to divide out the 2. So then it's kind of just dividing by 2 on this side and this side, but you don't have to show that. So now that would be x squared minus 3x minus 54 still equals 0. I need to factor. Two numbers that multiply to make negative 4 that add or subtract to be 3. 9 and 6, right? 9 and 6, they would have a difference of 3. So I'd want a minus 9 and a plus 6. That makes my solutions be positive 9 and negative 6. All of your solutions in the quadratics will work, so you don't have to plug them in. You will get them to work if you wanted to check, but I'm not going to. So two answers, 9 and negative 6.